Everybody, we are here in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, formerly was known as Mauch Chunk, which I think is loosely translated by Lenape as Place of the Bear, because the hillside that was above the town before they started doing all the coal mining sort of looked like a resting bear on that hill. But anyways, they renamed it Jim Thorpe in honor of the Native American athlete. They were looking for a place to bury him that would sort of be, I don't know if it's necessarily touristy, but basically that would represent him and wind out talking about him and honoring him. So Mauch Chunk wind out agreeing to have his burial here. There was quite a bit of issues with people being upset about that and wanting him to be brought back to his native Oklahoma. He actually went to the Carlisle Boy School for, I think, Indian boys and girls. It was a pretty brutal school, but he was, a lot of people think he was the greatest athlete of the 1900s, 20th century. And there are a lot of reasons why. So we're going to visit first where two of the statues are. Apparently they're putting a third statue up for baseball. I don't know if I thought there was something there, but maybe there wasn't. But we'll visit his grave, we'll visit these two statues, and then we will go down to where they have a bunch of his history there and talk a little bit more about Jim Thorpe. So here we have the first of his, this is his Olympics statue, him with the discus. James Francis Thorpe, gold medalist, 1912 Olympics, Stockholm, Sweden. The pentathlon events, broad jump first place, javelin third place, discus first place. You guys can always pause this and look at the actual records. 200 meter dash first place, and the 1500 meter race first place. The decathlon events, 100 meter dash third place, running broad jump second place, shot put first place, running high jump first place, 110 meter hurdles first place, 400 meter run fourth place, discus second place, javelin third place, pole vault third place, 1500 meter run first place. Thorpe finished the decathlon with an incredible 8,412.96 points out of a possible 10,000. His nearest competitor had 7,724.5. His total points for the decathlon was a record that stood for 10 years. Only Olympian ever to win gold medals for both the pentathlon and the decathlon in the same Olympics. Sweden's King Gustaf distributed the gold medals. Gustaf shook Thorpe's hand in a solemn manner and uttered the famous compliment, "Sir, you are the greatest athlete in the world." Thorpe, almost speechless with modesty, is said to have blurted out, "Thanks, King." Once again, you just look at this amazing statue of Jim Thorpe. Really was the greatest athlete in the 20th century. So here is the football statue. I always thought there was a third one, but apparently there was only two here, and they're doing one for baseball now too, which is not back yet up. Let me back up here. Once again, you can see this amazing statue. James Francis Thorpe, All-American, 1887, born May 22nd on the Sac and Fox Reservation near Belmont, Oklahoma Territory. 1904, enters Carlisle Indian School in Pennsylvania, scene of a brilliant career in college football. 1911, first team All-American football team at Carlisle. 1912, first team All-American football team at Carlisle. On November 9th, Jim Thorpe and his Carlisle football teammates defeat Army and West Point halfback Dwight Eisenhower. 1950, Jim Thorpe begins playing professional football for the Canton Bulldogs. 1920, selected as the first president of the National Football League. 1922 to 23, organized, coaches, and plays for the Oregon Indians, an all-Indians pro football team. 1929, Jim Thorpe plays his last professional game with the Chicago Cardinals on Thanksgiving Day. 1950 is named the greatest football player of the half century and the greatest athlete of the half century. 1953, Jim Thorpe dies on March 28th at Lomita, California. 1954, the National Football League establishes its most valuable player trophy, naming it in honor of Jim Thorpe. The town of Mauch Chunk, Pennsylvania, becomes the final resting place of Jim Thorpe and is renamed in his honor. 1963, Jim Thorpe is named a charter member of the founding of the National Professional Football Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio. 2000, ABC's Wide World of Sports online poll names Jim Thorpe the greatest athlete of the century. And 2001, November 20th, national unveiling of the General Mills Incorporated Wheaties cereal with Jim Thorpe's picture on the box. And once again, you get to see this stunning statue in honor of Jim Thorpe. Jim Thorpe's final resting place, and once again, the baseball monument's going to be over there, so we will come back and we will visit just for that. There you have 1888 to 1953, Jim Thorpe. Sir, you are the greatest athlete in the world. King Gustav, Stockholm, Sweden, 1912 Olympics. And he also, I believe he did, we'll see down there in the history, but I believe he also served in World War II. He really was a tremendous man. The greatest athlete probably ever. Just was naturally gifted, an extraordinary man. Is one of those heroes that we should honor every single day. And I believe they have, yep, World War II. So we will go down there and we will talk a little bit more about Jim Thorpe. First thing we'll acknowledge is this sculpture. This is called the Spirit of Thunder and Lightning. It is designed by Kendrick and Higa. Jim Thorpe's Indian name, Wahathonak, means path lit up at night by a bolt of lightning. I probably mispronounced it. I can almost be 100% certain. I also think it's sort of cool. They sort of almost have it like lightning there as well. Probably not, but still looks sort of like that. So here they have a vigorous youth. Jim Thorpe as a teenager. They have Thorpe as a basketball player in Carlisle. Thorpe as a football player in 1912. He became a star for the Carlisle football team, and there he became a star for the Carlisle track team. And his father there. So it's pretty impressive. This is something maybe I wind up getting and then reading off, because it's a lot more to read than I thought it was. But he really was a tremendous guy. He turned out to be just athletically gifted and just built unlike anybody other, to that point, and just was a very unique athlete. Then he went to the Carlisle Indian School, and that's where he excelled at football. And this is where it was a harsh school. Cliff actually did a video on the Carlisle Indian School, and you have a cemetery there, and a lot of these kids, they died because they beat them and other stuff. I mean, it was brutal, really, really brutal. And in the 1912 Olympics is where he really came into his own and showed what kind of athlete he was. And because of that, actually, I think he had some of his medals taken away because he became a professional athlete. And so there was a whole bunch of nonsense that came with that, and probably a lot of it was racially motivated. But he was a phenomenal, Olympic athlete. He was a phenomenal football player, one of the greatest ever. He was also a really, really good baseball player, which a lot of people don't realize everything that he was able to do. And really was, on top of that, an extraordinary man. And sir, you are the greatest athlete in the world. But yeah, that's Jim Thorpe. And they actually had a postage stamp and everything about him. But we'll talk a little bit more in detail about him, give you guys a little more information. This is just a lot to read all at once, but this is definitely a place. I know Cheryl, Sun Plus One, they visited here not terribly long ago, but it is one of those places that's worth coming to remember a hero, and really somebody who was an extraordinary human being, who was a model for all people. So with that, I will say we will see you all about town, and thank you once again for coming on another adventure. And like I said, we will try to go over some of this, talk a little bit more in depth. Maybe that'll be in another video where I'll do a full video with pictures and all that kind of stuff with him. It's a lot to read. I'm tired, and quite honestly, my body's starting to get beat. I gotta watch how much I'm on my feet. So I wanted to at least show you guys all this, this really extraordinary man. I encourage you to research him. But like I said, I will do another video where I will actually go into his history, his accomplishments, and all that kind of stuff. So as always, thank you for coming along. Remember, my friends, history is out there.